The corruption of Mexico.
Thesis: Corruption in Mexico has permeated several segments of society, political, economic, and social, and has really affected the country's legitimacy, transparency, accountability, and effectiveness.
Preview of main points. As a first point, we will talk about will be how does corruption arise? Why are people corrupt? The second point, we will talk about organized crime from a geographical point of view. As a third important point, we will tell the consequences of corruption in Mexico. Why does corruption exist? Corruption has its origins in two different main forms: ambition and necessity. Many times people's salary is not enough to cover their needs, which makes them accept extra money in exchange for following the orders of someone outside. This is therefore thanks to the ambition of powerful people with high positions who, waiting to increase their wealth, are capable of harming others. Corruption is contagious and does not respect sectoral boundaries. In addition, corruption involves duplicity and it reduces levels of morality and trust. It tempts others to take part and reduce incentives to conform to the rules. Corruption occurs especially in countries or areas where there are lower levels of education, and where corrupt people have developed for many years a system that allows them to continue exercising their activity in the eyes of the people. A problem has occurred since the beginning of the modern era, especially in Mexico. In addition to this, the 8 main reasons that cause corruption could be the next ones: country size, country age, resource curse, political instability, wakes, lack of rule of law, failure of governance, and size of government. Above all these two main factors, anyone can become corrupt. What separates us from this bad path is our willpower and education.
Organized crime and corruption. Crime and corruption are key dangerous topics, and the purpose of its existence is not only to tumult citizens, but it is also a great opportunity for governments and rich people to get more out of people in order to make large amounts of money. Without going any further, the origin of the first criminal organizations lies in corruption by public managers, and even today many of these groups need the precise collaboration of members of the public powers in order to survive. As such, consider 4 ways which organized crime cooperates with corruption. Political corruption: the irruption in the politics of criminal organizations, the infiltration of members of the organization in political parties, or the creation of parties by the criminal organization itself can force legislations and hinders and even favors the commission of crimes or the use of the benefits or obtained from them. Police corruption, but from abroad to facilitate the commission of the organization's criminal activities or by hindering the prosecution of said crimes, or even from within through the creation of the criminal organization within the security body itself to delinquents. Judicial corruption: the action of certain members of the judicial and fiscal corps also increase the chances of impunity for some illegal activities carried out by criminal groups. And civil servants corruption: analyzing in the civil servants groups most people permit to corruption to their strategic position within the organization chart of the different administrations depending on the specific purpose pursued by criminal organizations.
Consequences of corruption in Mexico. It produces an inefficient estimation of the cases of state resources, causes distortions in the correctness in addition to composition of public spending, produces distortions in the protection of private companies. It generates an insufficient provision of public goods or the deficient execution of social policies. Creates several negative social externalities that originates when the state stops fulfilling its function. Subsequently, corruption in the country cost approximately 146,628 million pesos per year, more than 6 times the UNAM budget for the current year, $11,266 million per year, which in addition will translate into a potential increase of 1,067.5% of the gross domestic product.
Review of main points. Corruption arises from the needs and ambition of the part of the people. One directly affects the other, which makes it a difficult problem to solve. And considering how integrated it is into Mexican culture. An example of how much corruption involved is in organized crime. This is a cooperation with crime in order to achieve a mutual objective. They get advantage of citizens in order to obtain more resources and power. What corruption has left in Mexico is a high crime rate, low education, and a high culture for anyone to commit corruption without feeling guilty, making this something daily that is normal from the youngest in schools to the most adults in government.
Restate thesis. After a deep investigation on the subject, we conclude that our thesis is in depth true. Corruption is such a serious issue that it has come to stop and never reverse the advances that the country can have, returning to a time of crime, unemployment, and even the death of thousands or perhaps millions of Mexicans involved in this problem.
Closing with impact. Finally, yet importantly, it is thanks to corruption that Mexico has not come to have a relevant advance in technology, culture, and economy, because we are more busy stealing money than investing it. It is possible to leave corruption behind to prosper as a nation. Definitely, the process can take us years and even decades. All the weight for the future falls on the new generations, that is, us.